Welcome back to Sledgehammer Horror, guys. I am Ken Sledge, and let's talk horror. Now, today I'm joined by the amazing Peter M. Olsen. Peter, how you doing today, man?
I am very well. How are you, my friend? It's been a while. How are things?
I know, man.
Things are good.
Very happy to be working with you again.
Right on.
But before we talk about why you're here, Peter, I want the people that don't know you to get to know you a little bit. You are currently part of the production team for the upcoming thriller horror feature Inner Child and the recently announced Matty Cat short. So, we did a little bit of work for Inner Child. Did the all-day thing on the Facebook, which was super awesome. The Facebook. I sound old. I meant to say the Facebook page. I'm not geriatric yet, I promise. And, we're very, very excited for the project. But Matty Cat, can you tell people a little bit about the Matty Cat short that you guys are doing?
So, yeah, I can't talk about it. I signed an NDA.
Okay.
I'm playing. No, anyway, but no. I've been waiting to say that joke. So, yeah, so it was just announced over the week that, or was it last week, that a new kids short called Matty Cat, and it's about a cat, and it's based upon the writer director Natalie Rodriguez, who is an amazing person, who wrote and soon will be directing Inner Child. So Natalie wrote and will be soon will finish directing Matty Cat, and it's based upon her real life cat named Matty.
That's awesome.
So, and there's a lot of really cool things, and it's squeaky clean, syrupy little kids, which is so bizarre from this conversation we're about to have in the next few minutes. I tried to talk her into having a butcher knife with the cat, but she didn't like that idea. So,
right.
So that's gonna be really rad, and that's coming up soon. And then then we have something else that's coming up that I've been waiting to kind of tell you on the show right now, that we're having a Seed and Spark that is going to be coming up at the end of the month. We've been kind of hinting about it online, but now I can finally really honestly say that right here that that and I got Natalie's permission to do this. I'm charging her more money for
right, for sure.
Right. All the little bucks that I'm making. So we're having a Seed and Spark at the end of the month, or towards the end of the month, and it's going to go to a little more Inner Child stuff. So we're really, really, really stoked for that, and there's some other stuff coming up too. So we're really excited, and Inner Child is going to be something really special. We announced the cast just recently, and we are just waiting to start filming. Filming should be starting soon. Well, depending on what happens in Hollywood, of course. But
right.
But so we just can't wait to get this script into moving pictures, because we have been talking about this for months and how awesome the script it is and how awesome a movie it's going to be, and we just can't wait for everyone to finally find out how good this movie is going to be. So,
well, I can tell you right now, I'm over the moon excited for it as is. So we're very, very stoked to see what you guys have coming up for us. But
right on.
Not just that, you've also done things for mental health as well. Writing for The Mighty, Rachel and the OC, Feminine Collective. These are things that, are very important to me as well. Mental health issues are super, super important. So what got you into writing about mental health?
So I'm bipolar, and I have a history of suicidal ideation and a couple attempts in there as well. So I was actually talking to a friend online, and she convinced me to write. I wrote in college and a couple things, but I was really kind of scared to write about mental health, because sometimes things are found online, and then people can use that against you and stuff. And I just said, you know what, fuck it. I want to be able to help people, and I want to be able for my story to get out there, so somebody else can read that story and go, wow, I'm not alone. So, so I started writing about having bipolar disorder. And I started writing about suicide attempts, and just so I could start helping people. And it's been a really cool experience to be in the mental health space, and there needs to be more people that would be willing to share their story. And it's just been really cool to be in that space, and it's an honor for me to be able to help people in that vein. So.
Well, you never know what someone's going through on the inside. Mm-hmm. So it's always amazing to learn about these things. I've battled mental health my whole life, anxiety, depression. Mm-hmm. I take rainbow pills every morning just to make sure I'm okay too, man. So I get it. Thank you, Effexor. So
right.
Definitely one of those things that mental health, if you don't have and it's still so taboo, just quit being a pussy, man.
Right. Especially, and you know this, right? Especially with dudes, for whatever reason, with men's mental health, we are considered weak. We are considered less than a man. If we were to say, "Hey, man, I'm just not having a good day," or this happened to me a while back, and it's men. We men who are out there who are talking about our mental health need to reach out to men who don't have that avenue, right? Who are so stuck in this toxic masculinity where they need to come out in this, and we need to be more more advocates, and say, hey, look, it's perfectly fine that you're having a bad day, or it's perfectly fine that you're not okay, and therapy is good. Mental health meds are good. Support is good. Crying is good. And we just need to break that thing. And I do want to say that my generation, Gen X, hasn't done very many favors to the current generation. And we hope that the current generation, who is all over mental health, who knows now that therapy and help is a good thing. And hopefully your generation and the generations after you will open the door even more to talking about mental health.
Well, and you wouldn't be mad at somebody and tell them to, man, be a man if they had cancer. If you have something, if you're sick, you're sick, and that's just, it's not there's something wrong with you if you have mental health issues. You're sick and you need help. That's it. It's nothing you can control. I don't just wake up one morning going, man, I hope I have severe anxiety today. I hope I'm walking down the street and it just feels like there's an elephant sitting on my chest and I can't breathe. That just sounds fun. I don't choose that. And if you have some type of mental illness, it is not your fault.
Amen.
It is not your fault,
Amen.
Man or woman. If you need help, my DMs are always open. Sometimes it's easier to reach out to somebody that's not going to judge you because they don't see you every day.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's nice to have that anonymity behind a phone or a computer. So if you're going through something with mental health, I can tell you that not only Peter, but myself, our DMs are always open. You are never, ever alone.
Amen. And my DMs have always been open to anybody who, if I can't help somebody, I've been fortunate enough where now I know more people who would be able to help. And if someone is nervous about going for therapy, for example, I can say, hey, my doctor is pretty good if you live in my area, or you can go to an online thing like BetterHelp or something like that. And it's we can always give people hotline numbers or websites, or we can just sit there and just listen to somebody. Yeah, exactly. And we just need to be better stewards of our own device, so to speak. So yeah.
Well, I mean, and I talked about how my DMs are open and how Peter's DMs are open, but how are you going to find him? That's really easy. All his social media links are down in the description. So make sure you're following him on social media, not only so you can reach out if you need help, but so you can stay up to date on Inner Child, Matty Cat, and all the other amazing things that he has coming up in the future. Now, we
And
do
I
know.
also have and I also have a fleet of carrier pigeons.
Yeah.
So yeah. So that may right that might work. I mean, because I am just kind of winging it. Okay, sorry. Go ahead. Yeah, right.
No, you're fine. So we talked about what you got going on now and what you got going on in the future, Peter. But now, for a second, I would like to go back to the past and talk about what got you started in the horror genre. Your first horror movie, and Peter, the first horror movie that you watched was
Halloween 1978. I almost said 79. John Carpenter's masterpiece. Ah, there you go. Right there. Right there.
Yeah, Kill the Boogeyman.
Right. Yeah. Wow, what a movie. It came out in 78, but I didn't see it until 82, 83. I was like 12 or 13 years old then. I was over at a friend's house spending the night, and his dad was like, "You've got to see this movie. Seriously, you've got to see this movie." So, it scared the living shit out of me. There were scenes that we'll get to here in a second that just it still resonates to me to this day, and it's that's one thing that made John Carpenter's moniker the master of suspense. He is that he was like the second coming of Alfred Hitchcock. Be completely honest with you. He has done amazing things with movies, especially with Halloween. Halloween was one of those movies that nobody was expecting, and at that time, it grossed the most for an independent movie. It grossed something. It only cost $300,000 to make, or $350,000 to make, and it grossed something like, what was it, like 24 million, 25 million, something like that. And at that time, that was unheard of. You had to be part of the Hollywood structure, or you just weren't anything. And so having that kind of movie open the door for something like Blair Witch Project, or like the Poughkeepsie. I can't say that word. I've tried for a day.
The Poughkeepsie tape.
That too, and just open the door for all these independent horror directors and writers who can look at that movie and say, "That's why I wanted to become a director." And it's not too much that you really see a movie that has such an effect on Hollywood and a societal effect as well, which we'll get into here in a couple minutes. But yeah, so I remember seeing movies like Watership Down that scared the living shit out of me. With you have all these rabbits and all this blood. Oh my God, that was freaky, right? Or there was a Disney movie that came out called Something Wicked This Way Comes, and it was so controversial at the time because Disney was a squeaky clean thing, and then here comes Satan, right? But Halloween was the movie to really grab me.
And it's one of those films that just it's still obviously going on today. We just got the final chapter in the Halloween saga, which we all know is not going to be the final chapter, but
no, of course not.
We don't. Right. We know you were young the first time you had seen it. You were over at a buddy's house, but
right.
Which scene was it that affected you the most from Halloween?
So the one that really got to me, and it wasn't the lack of blood really got to me, honestly, but we'll get to that here in a second. But the one that really, really freaked me out was Lori and her friend were walking from high school, and they're walking home, and they're talking about whatever they were talking about, and the whole brilliance of the scene was they weren't talking about anything particular. They were just talking. They were being friends, and here comes this large car with the Haddonfield mental what do they call it? I'm sorry, it was the Haddonfield.
The emblem on the side there.
Yeah. So it had that, and so as a viewer, you're like, oh, this isn't good. And you see this person driving, and part of you is like, okay, is this the bad guy, or is this someone looking for, assumedly something else was happening? And then it gets this almost a wider shot, and there is the shape driving the car, and he stops just right after them and stays there, and Laurie stops, and she looks, and she's looking at her friends, and her friends are just talking away, ignoring completely what was happening. And then the car went away, and one of the friends looks up, and and I'm paraphrasing, but she basically says, "What was that about?" or something to that degree. And so now Laurie's freaking out, and their friend number one goes home. Laurie is there with friend number two, and out of nowhere, the shape is right in front of Laurie, like maybe 500 feet, maybe away from her. And Laurie then walking normal, walking slower and slower, and stops. And then the shape goes behind this massive shrub. And the friend is like, what was that? That's nobody's there. You're imagining it, whatever the friend was saying. And so the friend then picks up double time to go check around the hedge, and you're going, oh my God, she's gonna get killed. She's gonna be number one or number two by that time. I can't remember when the dog lost it, but that's a whole different other conversation. And she jumps around the shrubbery, and right now Laurie is standing there, not doing anything. She's so freaked out, and there's nobody behind the hedge. There's nobody there. That scene really freaked me out, because at the time that I grew up, like late 70s, early 80s, even mid 80s, a stranger danger was a part of our lexicon. It was a part of our society, where we are told you have to watch out because somebody may nab you or put you in a van that has no windows on it, we were really never told that somebody that knows you could do something bad to you. It was always the stranger is going to come and get you. And we were always told to kind of watch behind our back, like at night, or don't go out at night. And Halloween really jumped on that stranger danger to really make that a part of the entire outlook of the movie. And some horror movies after that, before that, probably like Last House on the Left was a part of that stranger danger as well.
Right.
And just with this movie alone.
What's the boogeyman?
As a matter of fact, it was.
No, and it's one of those things where, like I said, this is a movie that has stood the test of time. 1978, we're still out here making films about this shape, about the boogeyman.
Right.
And so, like, it's one of those films that I think will forever be ingrained in the horror genre. It wasn't the first slasher, but it really is that stereotype of what the perfect slasher could be. So I definitely think that it's one of those movies that will forever be ingrained in us that way. So
yeah. And it was one of few movies back then that really grabbed a part of society. I mean, you could say the same thing, obviously, about The Exorcist, but that and Last House on the Left, and if you really want to go hardcore, maybe Maniac, but that was, but
a little more underground there.
Yeah, but yeah, and Halloween just I was reading Roger Ebert's original review of the movie, and within it he mentions the theater of the mind, Anytime you watch Halloween, you're thrown aback because there's not much blood, and most of the killing happens out of range or in the dark or off camera, where most movies now, they're so visceral with their violence and stuff. That really made the movie for me, because it freaked me out even more. Same with Texas Chainsaw Massacre. There was hardly any blood, and there was probably only one or two super shocking, like the guy walking in and Leatherface takes that big mallet and crushes the guy. Yeah, I hope that I'm babbling on.
Well, no, you talk about kills, and like, as horror fans, we love the kills in all our horror movies. That's something we gravitate to. And Halloween has a couple of very memorable kills, but which kill would you say it was that affected you the most from the OG Halloween?
So I have to be honest with you that I don't look at movies, especially horror movies, with in mind about liking a particular kill. One aftermath that really freaked me out was I forgot who walked into the top floor bedroom and saw someone spread out on the bed, and then there's a headstone. That was scary to me. Thinking that you could walk into your home and someone has made this up to freak the hell out of you. See, something like that really, really gets to me. Because something like that can happen in reality, right?
Right.
And I think I'm the only one within liking horror movies that I don't, anytime that there's a kill, I am always like this. I never, with the exception of what happened to the little girl in Hereditary. Even if you want to call Hereditary a horror movie, but that's a whole different other conversation for another episode. That really, you're frozen.
Yeah, I don't know why it keeps doing that.
No problem. Yeah, yeah. So and honestly, I'm more of like favorite quotes.
Okay.
Certain quotes in movies I think get to me more than a kill would for somebody. Loomis is talking about when he first met Michael, and part of the quote is, "I met him 15 years ago. I was told that there's nothing left. There's no reason. There's no conscience." And then he goes further to say,
"Blackest eyes, the devil's eyes."
And quotes like that, the blackest eyes, the devil's eyes, like those are ones that will really stick with you forever, and those are ones that are going to make you, those are things that we still say today. But, this franchise is huge now. Is the OG Halloween, is that your favorite one in the franchise?
Oh, without a doubt. I understand what Rob Zombie was trying to do. And I respect when a director thinks, you know what, I think I'm going to take this in a different way. Rob Zombie is one of those visionary directors where he could take something as small as a family of 3 people, like what happened in Devil's Rejects, where he could make those 3 people. You understand the family dynamic if they were, ruthless, bloody killers who wanted to destroy humankind.
Right.
But you understand the family dynamic, right? So I understand what Rob Zombie was trying to do, and I respect his vision. The first Halloween remake that he did I liked it. But again, I'm not a gore guy. I'm not just from a subject matter. I thought that he did a really good job. But yeah, no, the first one for me is, I was actually going to say the third one just to mess with you, but
I'm
the
third one. No, I have a shirt that says Halloween 3 is a good movie. Like, I love that movie, man.
Oh, my friend.
I'm not a Halloween purist, man. I didn't watch Halloween until later in life. I grew up with Michael, Freddy, and or I'm sorry, I grew up with Jason, Freddy, and Chucky. Those are the ones I grew up with. You know, and I've had an amazing time talking to you about Inner Child, learning a lot more about what you guys are going to be doing out there with Matty Cat. And before I let you go, man, I do have one last question for you regarding Halloween. What we're going to do real quick is we're going to rank this movie on a skull count. Now, we're not ranking Halloween on acting, production, score, direction, nothing like that. We're not being critics. What we're going to do here, Peter, is we are strictly going to rank this movie on how much it affected you on your first viewing. So 0 skulls being not effective, 5 being extremely effective. You can use half and quarter skulls anywhere in the middle. Peter, what would your ranking of Halloween 1978 be?
So I would like to give you 2 scores. I would like to give you a score from when I first saw it and a score from when I watched it last weekend. So it was definitely 5 out of 5 for me, because just walking home from my friend's house the next morning in the middle of the day was scary enough for me, because I was, and 5 out of 5 definitely, and I'm going to go 4.5 out of 5, because when you look at someone like a movie like Halloween with fresh eyes in 2023, there's a lot of stuff that doesn't transfer, right? Like Stranger Danger, for example. I was watching this movie, last week and thinking, wait a second. What if one of the friends was actually, like the who was PJ Souls' boyfriend in the first movie? Looking back on the movie, knowing what's going to happen, I was thinking the boyfriend could have actually been the Shape. But 5 out of 5 when I first saw it, definitely it affected me so much the first time I viewed it. So yeah.
And like I said, they're still making movies to this day, and they will continue to make Halloween movies, I feel like, until they bleed that horse to death. But I do want to say thank you again, Peter, because we are at the end of the 3rd act. The credits are about to roll and the curtain's about to drop. But before that happens, I said it at the beginning, but I'm going to say it again. I have all of Peter's social media links down in the description. So make sure you're following him to stay up to date on everything coming up in his life. Peter, please don't go anywhere. I got a couple more questions for you. Awesome. Everybody else, if you haven't already, please like and subscribe. It really helps the channel more than you know. And follow Sledgehammer Horror on social media. All our links are down in the description as well. Go ahead, Peter.
This has been a pleasure and an honor. Thank you so much for letting me be a part of this. I really appreciate seeing you again and talking to you again. And hopefully we'll talk about something else at another point. So thank you very much.
Of course, man. But like I said, don't go anywhere. I do have a couple more questions for you. Everybody else, as always, keep talking horror, stay what you are, and we'll see you guys soon.